everybody, welcome back to Philosophy with Kerry Key. In today's video we will be talking about dragons and the possibility of their existence in our history. Dragons are ancient reptilian beasts which we believe to be mythical. Although we are still not exactly entirely sure whether they are just myth or whether they actually existed on planet Earth. So in this video we will explore topics such as the possibility of their existence, some tales from history, historical reports of sightings of dragons, the history of dragons in human knowledge as we know it, and my personal views and experiences on this topic. And so let's get into it. In ancient times, all animals of the reptilian family were believed to be either related to or descendants of the dragons, which is very interesting because a lot of them do resemble dragons or even have dragon in their name. You can research animals that resemble dragons and often they will come up as lizards or snakes and things like that. So it sends you down a whole rabbit hole of animals that do resemble them and how this theory is possible. The most symbolic being the Komodo dragon. The Komodo dragon was once considered a mythical beast too. It is the largest lizard, growing up to 3 meters in length. They bite with poison that causes paralysis or loss of senses. And they can eat a very large amount, from pigs to humans to horses. Ancient maps often had dragon locations on them, sometimes even saying dragons are here, or dragons be found here, or something along those lines, to warn people. And our ancient people believed dragons to be as real as any beast we believe to be real today. They believed that they were very fearful and real. In Arthurian history, it depicts that dragons were all killed during the turn against magical beings and paganism. This could be true, as there are a lot of documented records of people who hunted dragons in our history. Knights and such would hunt dragons to show how strong they were and powerful, and so they may be extinct. Our senses can only detect between certain frequencies, so this means that there is a lot that happens that we are not aware of. Our eyes are blind to things beyond these frequencies. On a side note, the third eye, so the pineal gland, can see through all of these frequencies. From my personal experiences visually and in real life, I do kind of believe that they may be real and just hiding, either beyond the veil or just in a location that we can't see. Although I'm an open-minded person and I believe in a lot, if it hasn't been proven untrue. Personal experiences. I have always seen strange things in the sky, but on this occasion myself and a friend saw something very weird in the sea. So this is almost a decade ago, a very long time ago. But me and my friend are walking and talking. My mum was walking a bit ahead of us at the beach, and I looked over into the sea and noticed right at the back of where I could see of the ocean, there was this really weird snake, huge beast looking thing, and it was curling in and out of the water like some kind of thing you'd see in a mythical book, and it had a big head that looked weird to its body. I honestly wish we would have got this on camera, and it looked way bigger than any ship or vessel that would be out there. Like, I'm talking bigger than the bloody Titanic. So I alerted my friend to the situation. She looked over in the water too. And I mean, at first we thought it was some kind of show and it was going to be like in the news or something. It was there for a little while, just curling in and out of the water. And we were just so confused. We didn't know what the hell we were seeing. And then it just went into the water and vanished. Now I have to mention that our theory at the time of it being some kind of underwater show with people going in and out or some kind of mechanical thing was not the case, because it was never reported. No one else ever heard about it or saw it, and I've never seen a beast that big in the ocean or reported to date. And as you do, we just kind of got on with our lives, forgot about it, it went to the back of our heads. Just an unexplained thing that happened that we don't know what the hell it was or what happened. Smokey tried to steal my feather, naughty, naughty boy. But we did run over and tell my mum about it, and I still mention it to my mum all the time, like, do you remember that time I saw that weird thing at the beach? And I live in Australia, and a lot of the Australian waters especially haven't been discovered. So nobody knows what's down there. But I tell you something, it's put me off going on a cruise. I've had out-of-body experiences where I have had encounters with dragons. Normally when you tell people this, they kind of just think you're crazy, or they're just like, well, it's all in your head, you just totally made that up. But yeah, my first dimensional brain does not have the ability to create such an illusion. Sorry guys. I research my out-of-body experiences too, and I always knew things that I did not know previously. For instance, in one out-of-body experience, I was in the middle of the ocean, no idea where I was, you couldn't see land anywhere, and I was on top of some kind of spiraling cave. It looked like it kind of arched out and spiraled inside. And there was a dragon who was kind of laid around the top of the entrance of the cave, and I was talking to him, not in the way that you would talk normally with moving mouths and his mouth moving. We were telepathically communicating, and I didn't really know of this to be a thing either until I researched it and found out that they are known for telepathic communication. So in this experience, I was basically just asking the dragon questions of where they have gone and things like that, and it gave me a lot of information which I won't tell you too much about because you think I'm way too crazy. The best way for me to describe what this dragon looked like to you is to show you a snippet of a painting that I did. I normally paint my out-of-body experiences just so they stay fresh in the memory. So here's a little snippet of this dragon. Now in this painting I only put this part into it. This whole design was not of that one experience, but the little dragon part is. So as you can see, it has kind of a slender snake-like body, but it has wings also, and it was a fire-breathing dragon as well. And this is a kind of representation of the cave as it goes into the ocean. But bear in mind that it had nothing around it, anywhere to be seen in this actual out-of-body experience. So what happened was the dragon kind of put its head down. I went on its head, it's totally like something out of a movie. And so I went into the tunnel which went into the water with the dragon, and I remember I was like riding him. And another notable part of this experience is I remember when we went into the water, I remember thinking that my human self would think it's very weird that I can breathe underwater, like, or I'm like not breathing and I'm not affected. And I remember also wondering how this beast of fire was surviving in the water, and found out that dragons are beasts of all elements, so they can live in the ocean and the sky and breathe fire. When the experience had finished, I researched it, as I always do, to find out if there's definite truth in it. I always am skeptical of my own visions because they're always so extraordinary. So I researched this vision, and especially the things that I was thinking. So how could I breathe underwater? My soul kind of answered that question for me at the time, and I'm a soul, I'm not human, so like, of course I don't need oxygen when you're in that form. And I also researched the dragon and if it's possible that they could be hiding in the ocean. And I found out that this is possible because they are a beast of all elements, so they can also breathe underwater and breathe fire at the same time. This particular experience goes so deep and I discover so much, but I won't get into it too much so that you all don't think I'm too crazy. We're only just getting to know each other, guys. But that out-of-body experience will always be one of my most notable and one that is burned into my memory the most. So, most people believe that dragons could not have existed because we have no evidence, like there are no bones of dragons being found. To this I say, it's important to note that any bones that are found today that are reptilian and ancient enough tend to be deemed as dinosaur bones. And it's also interesting to note that although our ancient people could tell us where stars were without telescopes, and where ley lines were, and all these other things that we are only just discovering, they did not know of and never mentioned dinosaurs. But they did mention all these other beasts that we deem myths. It's interesting. Also, a lot of the bone structure of dinosaurs does resemble dragons. And of course their bones would be as ancient as dinosaurs because they are immortal and have said to have been there from the start. A beast described as that of like a dinosaur still exists in the Likwala swamps of the Congo, known to the local people as the Mokele Bembe. Not many people know this, but there are actual dracologists and people who study dracology. Dragons were always decorated into different materials, from gargoyle serpents to shields of Aztec kings. From our knowledge, dragons from the east and south tended to dwell in the oceans and had more of a serpent form, like that of the Chinese dragon. To the north and the west, they tended to be winged dragons. And their colours always had different representations to their occupations. They have been reported globally throughout history. And today, people are still reporting sightings. To wrap this video up, I will tell you guys my favourite tales from the history of dragons. Number 1, my favourite tale of all, St. George and the Dragon. The story here goes that in the late 2nd to early 3rd century, Cyrene, Libya was under attack by a dragon. The beast had crocodilian scales and a spiraling tail, and it was killing local sheep to begin with poison vapor. This got so out of hand that eventually the beast started consuming humans instead. So the beast kept returning and kept taking the livestock and the humans with it. And eventually the day came where the beast wanted the king's daughter. And so, like the victims before her, the princess was tied to a wooden stake above a swamp, awaiting her doom. But along came St. George and saved the princess. He slayed the dragon and saved the nation, giving him a divine reputation. St. George was a very real person, and he was considered a patron in 13 nations, including England. He even has a day dedicated to him, traditionally the 23rd of April. The only records we really have about St. George is that 1, he was a warrior, and 2, he slayed the dragon. So we must ask ourselves, if dragons are not real, then why is he so famous, and why do we only have this tale of why? And how do so many separate nations paint the same picture? Number 2, Maud and the Dragon. In Maudiford, England, there was a young girl who really wanted a pet. And when out playing, she came across a strange baby animal that she instantly fell in love with and took home, expecting it to become part of the family, of course. But when she took it home, her parents recognised it as a baby wyvern, which is said to be hell on earth and one of the worst dragons you could come across. Even believed to be the devil himself in disguise. The family refused the beast and told her to take it far away. And so she did, but she hid it. She cared for the dragon, bringing it bowls of milk and making sure that it was well nourished, until it became full-sized. Eventually the beast grew to full form and became out of the young girl's control and began terrorizing the land, although he never stopped loving the girl. The people of the town quickly clicked on to that there was a dragon around, and even worse, a wyvern. A very popular knight was sent to slay the dragon, and this devastated the young girl and has a very sad ending. A painting depicting this event was on the town's church wall until 1811, when they took it down and destroyed it due to the belief that the wyverns were connected to evil in general. 3. The Bunyip. This tale was shared to us by the ancient Aboriginals and believed among their people. This beast was said to have the body of a calf and a head that resembled a beast, and it dwelled in a lake. A local tribe of men set out to explore and find trophies to bring home for their counterparts, and they come across a baby bunyip in a lake, and they take it to the tribe leader to figure out what kind of animal this is, as they'd never seen it before. And the tribe leader knew exactly what it was and told them it was a baby bunyip and that they needed to return it to the lake, or they would suffer the punishment from the bunyip's mother. And so they returned the baby bunyip to the lake, but the mother was there and was already enraged, and she turned the tribe people into a flock of black swans, said to be the first ever recorded. 4. The Wantley Dragon. Just outside of the Yorkshire village of Wortley, Yorkshire's my hometown, a dragon was terrorising the local village, and so the town called upon their most favourable knight to slay the beast. In this case, the battle between the knight and the dragon went on for 3 days, until eventually the knight got the idea from hearing of a rumour that if you kick a dragon in a certain area, yeah, the typical area to hurt people of the male gender. So the knight had heard that if you injure a dragon in this precise location, that it would give it a mortal wound. And so he gives him a great big kick into his precise region, and this injured the beast so badly that he died, apparently. Book to mention is this, The History of Dragons by Dr. Carl Schuker. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my future videos.